everyone, and welcome to episode number 7 of the Nordic Leblock podcast. It is Saturday, March 2nd, 2024. I am your host here, Nordic97, joined with my other host, Leblock James.
How we doing?
Hello. Hello. So, there's been a lot of news in the hockey world, and we are about a little less than a week away from the trade deadline, and trades are finally happening. Praise the Lord. So, there were, I believe, there was like 3, but there was 2 big trades that happened over this past week. One of them involved 2 of them actually involved 3 teams. The Dallas Stars, the New Jersey Devils, and the Calgary Flames was one of them. So, the Dallas Stars acquired defenseman Chris Tanev with 75% retained, 50 by Calgary, 25 by the Devils. From the Calgary Flames, they also acquired goaltender Cole Brady from the New Jersey Devils. The Flames in this deal, they got back a 2024 second-round pick, defenseman Artem Grushnikov, and a 2026 conditional third, which if Dallas makes the Cup final, they get that third. If not, it's just wiped off the slate. The Devils, who again retained a 25% in Tanev's deal, got a 4th-round pick in 2026 in return. So, I will go to LeBlanc. LeBlanc, what were your initial thoughts on this Chris Tanev trade?
I think Dallas got a really good deal at a very fair price. So I think Dallas, they were in on Tanev. I think almost from the start, because I know they were always one of the teams that was circling around him, and to finally get a Tanev type player in, not going to provide you the offense you need, but he will provide you with very, very good defense down the stretch. He'll be on I assume he'll be on their second pairing, and it pushes Ryan Suter down to the 3rd pairing, which I know Stars fans are probably really thrilled about.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes.
And Calgary, I know Calgary wanted a second and a prospect, and they got a second and a prospect. So if you're Calgary, you got to be happy with that right now.
Yeah, I agree. I'll start with Calgary since you started with Dallas this time. With the Stars, it's a little bit disappointing that you didn't get a 1st-round pick when the expectation was you were going to get a 1st-round pick. Understandably so. I mean, you are upset, but again, a 2024 second is not too bad. Grushnikov, he's going to take some time to develop. I did some research. He looks like a guy who is still going to take maybe 1 to 2 more years before you see him legitimately in the NHL, but looks like a solid defensive defenseman in his early development so far. And then the conditional third is the conditional third. We'll see what happens with that. Getting a guy like Chris Tanev, especially for 75% retained, which is, for those who can't do math, 25% off what his contract is. So that is really good for Dallas. Getting a guy who they missed in the playoffs. A guy like Tanev is someone that Dallas really needed in last year's playoffs. A guy who can block shots, lay his body on the line for you. This is a great deal for Dallas, and I think that this could be one of the deals where, looking back, if Dallas wins the Stanley Cup or even makes the final, this could be the deal that we look at and say, yeah, that's what made them do this all. And then the Devils, I mean, they moved Cole Brady. It looked like he was a guy, from what I could gather, is just more or less a guy who didn't want to sign with the Devils. Doesn't really look like he wants to sign at all. He's a backup for UMass, doesn't have that great of stats. So I guess that's why he went to Dallas. His rights, he's not signed. And then the Devils, I mean, they just retained 25%. They get a 4th-round pick. I'm not really too sure. They just were the third party in this deal. So if you had to give grades out to these 3 teams, what would your grades be? Start with the Devils, because the Devils are
I mean, the Devils got, what was it, conditional third?
2026 4th.
4 for retaining, and you get rid of a guy who doesn't want to sign with you. I think that's a solid B.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do much, so I agree. I'll give them a B too. For Calgary,
Calgary, I'm gonna give I think Calgary did well. I'm gonna give them a B plus. I don't think they could have done. They could have gotten more for him. I think if they waited a little longer, but it's still a solid return, so it's a B plus.
Yeah, I gave them a C+. I know that might be a little bit too harsh, might be a little bit too low. It's not a horrible return by any means. A second-round pick's still good, but when you think about it, it's going to be a high second, or is it a low second? It's going to be towards the end of the second round is what I'm trying to say. And then, as well as that too, Grushnikov still a few years away from development. It is not a bad return, but it's disappointing considering the fact that the first-round pick was the rumor or the price for guy like Tanev. And finally, Dallas. What is your grade for Dallas on this deal?
A.
Yeah, I gave him an A plus. I agree. I think they did very well in this deal. The other trade involved the Anaheim Ducks, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, I've seen Ilya Lybushkin in a Leafs jersey before, you're right, because he was in that 2 years ago. The Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Ilya Lybushkin with 75% salary retained, 50 from Anaheim, 25 from Carolina, and forward Kirill Slepets. In exchange, the Anaheim Ducks acquired a 2025 third-round pick from the Maple Leafs. And then the Hurricanes, who retained 25% on this deal, got a 2024 sixth-round pick. So I'll go to LeBlock. What are your initial thoughts on this trade?
Well, Ilya Lybushkin worked so well the first time. Might as well bring him back for the second go-around.
I guess so.
Lybushkin, I think his game has kind of changed. Like, he's still a defensive defenseman. You look at his advanced metrics, and it's horrifying.
But, now, you got to put an asterisk next to that because that was with the Anaheim.
I would say that it is Anaheim, and Anaheim is
bad. He's generally been on bad teams.
He has.
He's been with Anaheim, Arizona, Buffalo. He's generally been on bad teams.
So, the Leafs needed a defenseman. I think he slots perfectly. I don't know if he's going to be in there. I think in the third pairing is probably where he should be. I don't know where he played tonight against the Rangers, but third pairing seems like a perfect spot for him to go. He's a reliable defensive defenseman when he's healthy. So I think Toronto gave up, what was it, a third and a fourth?
Third and a sixth.
Third and a sixth, sorry. And it's not a bad deal for depth. So I don't hate it for Toronto. I think it gives you another body and you can go get more as well later this week. So I think it's a pretty good deal for Anaheim and for Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not a bad trade. It kind of reminds me a little bit because when they had Lybushkin on their team, they lost in the first round of the Lightning. It's kind of like one of those things where, like, you're begging someone, you get back together with someone after a messy breakup, thinking that things will change or
maybe they'll change.
Things will be different the second time. Something like that. You know what I'm going along the lines of. But yeah, Lybushkin, not a bad defensive guy. I liked him a lot in Arizona. I mean, for what Toronto gave up for him, I'd say they made out pretty well. I don't know a lot about this Slepets guy. When I actually made all my videos and stuff on it, I didn't do research on Slepets, so I have no idea what to really expect. From the general consensus, it doesn't look like he's that big name of a player or big name of a prospect, so shouldn't be too much there. But yeah, I mean, it's similar to the Monahan situation in Winnipeg. There isn't a whole lot of options out there defensively at this point that Toronto can get their hands on. So instead, they went for a third pairing guy on Lybushkin, which isn't a bad thing. So if you had to give grades to these teams, what would you give them? Start with Carolina.
Sorry, I blanked out. What did Carolina get? I'm sorry.
They got a 2024 sixth-round pick for retaining 25%.
B minus.
Yeah, I'd say B minus too. It's kind of a toss-up for the third team every time. Anaheim.
I'm gonna give Anaheim a B. Lybushkin is a third pairing defenseman. You got two picks for him. One is a mid-round pick, one is a low-round pick. I don't think you could have gotten any more for Lybushkin. So
yeah, and then Toronto.
I'm gonna give him an A minus.
I'll give him a B plus. I don't mind the deal. I think it's solid. Moving on into a signing that has occurred. You know what I'm talking about. The Vancouver Canucks have signed forward Elias Pettersson finally to an 8-year, $11.6 million contract. So, LeBlanc, what were your initial thoughts on this contract?
Steal. Absolute steal. You look at Elias Pettersson, he's had a 100-point season. He's basically been the face of that franchise since he came over.
Yeah, I agree. He is a guy that, a lot of people I saw rumors that he could get 12. Yes, 12.5, somewhere around there. That was kind of the number we generally expected. But to be only $100,000 more than Nylander says two things to me. A, he's better than Nylander. He's way better than Nylander, but that shows that it's a good contract. And B, the Canucks did very well in this deal, getting him to only 100K above Nylander, because I figured that with the Nylander signing, that would have made Pettersson want at least $1 million more than what he's getting paid right now.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
he signed for 8 years.
agreed.
That's huge because you look at some players around the league who've signed their big deal, but they're like, hey, I don't want to sign for 8 years. I want more. Like I see players nowadays are trying to get those less duration contracts they can cash in more and more and more. Pettersson's like, no, I want to stay here for 8 years at this amount to actually. I think Pettersson maybe took a pay cut to help his team down the line as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Vancouver made out pretty well in this deal. Well, LeBlock, I have a surprise game for you. Whoop whoop! Surprise game. Be happy. So we're gonna play a game where we look at NHL contracts and discuss if they're underpaid, overpaid, or just right. So I have 10 recent signings here, and you just tell me if they're overpaid, underpaid, or just right. So we'll start off with Pettersson.
I think it's slightly underpaid. I want to say just right, but it's like a slightly underpaid.
Okay, so we'll go with underpaid. Owen Tippett of the Philadelphia Flyers on a $6.2 million deal for the next 8 years. I have the contract written down in case you forget.
Ooh. I'm going to say just right.
Okay, just right. Connor Hellebuck signed to a $8.5 million deal for 7 years.
Connor Hellebuck's been the best goalie in the NHL, but you look at down the line, that Connor's probably going to age like milk, but I'm going to go with just right.
Just right? All right. William Nylander, one of the more recent signings, $11.5 million for the next 8 years.
Overpay.
Ooh, want to explain why?
I just think Nylander, he's having a career year. He's having a really, really good year. I just think, can he sustain that pace for the next 8 years? And I think no.
Very true. Good point. Rasmus Dahlin, $11 million for the next 8 years.
Overpay. I love Dahlin, but I think it's insane that he's getting 11.
Austin Matthews, $13.25 million for the next 4 years.
Honestly, underpay.
Yeah, that's a good debate. I mean, Leaf fans will finally be happy with you for once with that. Trevor Zegras, $5.75 million for the next 3 years.
If based off this season, overpay. But he's been injured. I don't want he's been injured. You see what he's done with a bad Ducks team. I'm gonna say just right.
Okay, just right. Sebastian Aho, $9.75 for the next 8 years.
Just right.
Just right. Okay. And Tom Wilson of the Washington Capitals, $6.5 million for the next 7 years.
Overpay.
Overpay. Massive overpay. And then finally, I got your boy, Alex DeBrincat, $7.875 for the next 4 years.
I think it's an underpay.
Underpay. All right. Well, Red Wings fans will be happy to hear that from you. So that's our game of overpaid, underpaid, or just right. Just a little game that I threw in there. I thought it was a pretty cool idea. Yeah. That we could do midway through. So, any other thoughts on the Pettersson deal? I know I kind of cut in there a little bit.
I think honestly, I think both parties got what they wanted. The Canucks are happy. Pettersson's happy. The fans are happy. The Vancouver fans are thrilled. So, I think all in all, it's a W all around.
Agreed. So moving on now into other news, because there was other news. The Calgary Flames are reportedly set to hang on to Jacob Markstrom ahead of the trade deadline. The Devils have circled back on the goalie, which is what we covered, I believe, last week. But Calgary has told teams that they plan to keep him for the rest of the year and send the right message to the team. The 34-year-old still has 2 more seasons under contract. He has a .914 and a 2.56 in 37 games played this season. I've seen some reports that Jacob Markstrom's upset with the fact that he's not getting traded now, and I've seen some reports that players on the team would be upset if Jacob Markstrom got traded. So, LeBlock, whether or not the Flames trade him, do you think the Flames should or should not?
If you're going to retool, look at the Calgary Flames are going to do, you need to trade Markstrom while he still has value.
I agree.
And I saw the report from Freeman tonight on Hockey Night in Canada. That boy mad. Like he mad. Like he wanted to be communicated better to him, where he said he had a chance to go to New Jersey, he fought his way to New Jersey, and they're like, no, you're staying. I do feel like if Calgary doesn't I know they said they're going to hang on to him, but if, let's say, one phone call changes everything.
It does.
Mm-hmm. And I think if they don't trade him, I think he will be traded in the offseason. I don't see a world where Jacob Markstrom is the starting goalie for the Calgary Flames next year. And about the players being upset about him being traded, I mean, I understand. I understand him being upset. You trade your starting goalie, it sends a message that, hey, we're going to do a retool, we're going to do a rebuild. You want to send the right message to the team down the stretch as you get into the post-trade deadline run of the season. But at the end of the day, it's a business.
Yep. In the famous words of what Leblock used to say on a lot of our PS4 parties, it's just business.
It's just business. It's just business.
Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of it. I understand the fact they want to hold on to him, but if Markstrom's visibly not happy and wants to, he more or less is saying with this, yeah, I'm not happy. I wanted to get traded. Then I think the Flames should pull the trigger, even if people in management are upset with it. Do you really think that guys like Messier and Curry said, "Oh yeah, trade Wayne Gretzky"? Do you think they said that? No, they didn't. There's documentaries out there that said they didn't. So it's a business, as LeBlanc said. So if he gets traded, I think it's the better move for Calgary to move him, personally. In other news, Mark Stone is out for the regular season for the Vegas Golden Knights, and if you think that the Vegas Golden Knights are going to use the LTIR loophole, you're right, because people have come out and said that you can be certain that Kelly McCrimmon will utilize his cap space. He's questionable for the playoffs. I don't really know what that means. He'll probably come back like second round. I mean, because we're only a month away from the playoffs, essentially, about a month. So
yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, it's crazy to think, but we'll see what happens there. But LeBlanc, any thoughts on the LTIR loophole? And why is it Vegas?
Why am I not surprised? No, Mark Stone getting injured. I swear I don't think Mark Stone's actually played a full 82 games.
Not for a while.
I know in Ottawa he never had an 82 game season.
Then probably not, to be honest with you.
So like I think we should do this. You need to take. You know what? Have you ever seen RoboCop? Just take RoboCop with Mark Stone. We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Robo Stone.
Yeah, exactly, Robo Stone.
Or we just build it. We just repair him with stone. How about that?
He'd be a great shot blocker.
For sure.
Yeah. But getting back to reality, it sucks for Vegas. Mark Stone's their leader. Mark Stone's, like their guy. They take him to battle every night. It sucks to see him getting injured so often. Vegas will use the cap space loophole, and as they should, because it's in the CBA. It's not illegal. It's not cheating. So I feel like with the new CBA, this loophole will be fixed. But as for now, they're going to use it, and they should go out and acquire another high-impact winger.
I agree. I think they will be very active in the next couple of days. Jake Gensel, how about it? Anywho, I don't blame Vegas for doing it. I mean, if the Flyers, let's say Couturier got injured and they had how much money they had in LTIR space, and they said they were going to utilize it, I wouldn't be mad. Let's say if Brady Tkachuk was injured and the amount of money he had was for cap space, the Sens would use their money too. It's just the way the CBA is. It's the way the loophole is. And I mean, if it were our favorite teams, we wouldn't complain. So that's why I don't complain for it being Vegas. It is ironic that it's Vegas, I guess, but they're not at fault for using it. And finally, the final piece of news here that I have: the Washington Capitals have placed forward Evgeny Kuznetsov on waivers as of today. This comes after the day he was released from the PA assistance program. First off, LeBlanc, do you think he gets claimed?
No.
Yeah, no.
I will bet my life savings of $24 on him not getting claimed.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be weird to see him in Hershey, a guy like Kuznetsov in the American Hockey League.
But I think it's gonna be good for him because
It will be good for him. I agree.
yeah, he needs to get back to even if he dominates the AHL, it's good to get back to him playing and him playing at his play in the NHL the past 2 years has been very subpar.
Yeah, so it's good to it'll be good to see him try and develop here a little bit and get back to what he was in the AHL. But obviously, he's been around for a long time, so it just might be part of his unfortunate regress. So, anywho's
But
moving on
I'm
now.
gonna say one more thing actually.
Oh, sorry.
I think those two parties just need a divorce. Like they just need a full on divorce. I know Kuznetsov wants out. His agent wants him out. The organization, I don't think they're too keen on keeping him around. So I think this offseason you might see a potential Kuznetsov buyout.
All right, so moving on here, we are going to do a tier ranking. So if you guys follow our Instagram, which is the Nord Block Pod on Instagram, by the way, be sure to follow it. We did something where we tier ranked teams. It was originally going to upload on an episode that ended up being corrupt, and we just never uploaded it. But we still uploaded the graphics just because why not? But anyways, today, me and LeBlock are going to make a joint tier list of trade deadline related players. So we do have some players in here who have already been traded. We'll move those guys into the columns respectively, obviously. But we have 5 columns here. We have already traded, which is pretty self-explanatory. We have won't be traded. We have if the offer is right, ... We have might be traded, and then we have will be traded. So we'll get straight into it here. We have Brandon Tanev. We have Chris Tanev, who has already been traded, unless LeBlanc thinks he's going to get traded again. I wouldn't think so. First player starts with a bang, Jake Gensel. So, LeBlanc, do you think Jake Gensel is going to get traded or no?
I think he might be traded. I don't think it's 100%.
Yeah, I think so too. That's a weird one with me because I don't want to go all out and say that, yeah, he will get traded. But with this, I do think that there's a solid chance that he does get traded. So I'm going to put him in might be traded. I agree with you there. Adam Henrique, there's been a lot of traction in Henrique the last couple of days.
Adam Henrique will be traded.
Okay. Vladimir Tarasenko.
Tarasenko is hard because, like, you see in the reports how he loves Ottawa. He wants to stay, but he also wants to extend with a contending team. Like, it's hard to say, but I think from a business standpoint, I think Tarasenko will be traded.
Will be traded. More? Do you think he will be more or less than Henrique?
I've put Henrique over Tarasenko. Henrique's a center, so.
Okay. Elias Lindholm has been traded. Pavel Buchnevich. We've seen some traction with Buchnevich the last couple of days.
If the offer is right.
I agree. That's one of those players where if the offer is right, then he will be traded, but it's not likely. Sean Walker.
I'm going to let you take the wheel on this one.
Okay. I would say, I think with the offers that I've been hearing the last couple of days, I don't really know. They've been working on a contract. It looks like they're kind of close. Not really, but kind of close. So I don't really know what to expect. I'm going to put him in might be traded. I think that, like, if they can't work out a contract with him, then they will. But there's no rush here for Philadelphia. They're in a playoff spot. They're playing well. It's just a matter of what exactly could you get back in return for a guy like Walker. Jacob Chikrin.
If the offer is right, they'll trade Chikrin. They're not going to trade him for scraps. He has a term. I don't see the Sens parting with him unless it's something that you could pry. Like, you need to be able to pry him from Ottawa. Ottawa's not going to be like, oh yeah, I'll give you this first and this prospect. Like, kick rocks.
It's gonna take more than that, especially for a guy that they acquired to be for the future.
Like a year ago, yeah. So I think it's gonna be if the offer has to be right.
Alex Carrier, if you don't know who that is.
I know who Carrier is. I'm gonna put Carrier in might be traded because Nashville's on a heater right now. Like
there was a thing that a few days ago there was reportedly steam picking up on Oilers and Nashville involving Carrier. So maybe that happens. Nick Dowd.
Ooh. Might be traded.
Okay, he's another guy that if Washington decides to sell, there's a chance, but I'm not really sure. Ilya Lybushkin has already been traded.
Already. Yeah.
Riley Smith, the other Pittsburgh Penguin.
I think Smith will be traded.
There's been a lot of interest. I agree. I do think he will be traded. Here's an interesting one: Tyler Toffoli.
Toffoli's weird because the Devils, like, like there's been extension talks. But I honestly think Toffoli won't be traded.
I don't really think so either. I think that the Devils are going to try and stick into a playoff spot to the end, and I don't think they're going to move assets to sell. I doubt it, unless Toffoli comes out and says, "I want to go to a team that's solidly in a playoff spot." Anthony Mantha.
Mantha's weird because Mantha has a bad. I think he only has 1 year left on his deal, right?
1 year and I believe like $5.6 million. He's a guy who's actually been not terrible this year. He has almost 20 goals, which is not that bad for
bad this year, but
yeah. So it's
I
one of those things where
he has 1 year left, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna say won't be traded.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anyone's gonna want to take on that money.
Yeah.
That is what? Okay, all right. That is Joel Edmondson, by the way, if you couldn't tell.
I don't think he'll be traded.
Me neither. I don't see it. Nick Seeler. I will take the wheel with this one.
All right.
I think he will be traded. I kind of do think, though, that if Seeler gets traded, Walker will get traded, but I feel like Seeler is a better chance of getting traded because Seeler reportedly wants more than $3 million, and I'm not paying a third-pairing defensive defenseman $3 million. That is, no.
And like, watching Seeler does a lot of good things for the defense. Like he blocks shots. He's good. He's good on defense. But $3 million for a third pairing is not great. So
I think that
if
if you traded Walker and Seeler together, you could get a pretty solid return, like a first and
probably,
a decent prospect. Don't think it's a bad idea for Briere, but then again, they're hesitating a little bit. Mikael Granlund. There's a lot of Sharks players on this list.
Granlund, I think he might be traded.
He's one of those guys where like he's on the block, but it's just a matter of what team will be interested in him.
I haven't heard anything about Mikael Granlund, like at all.
Not really. Nope.
He's a center, right?
I believe so. Yes.
And I think he might be traded. Then I would put him like right beside Carrier or above Carrier.
Okay. Frank Vetrano of Anaheim. There's been some rumors about this.
Another one where it's might.
Yeah. I think there. I haven't heard a whole lot, but it does look like there's a decent chance that he will be. Mike Hoffman.
I don't think Hoffman will be traded.
You don't think so? Really? Why?
I mean, maybe. We put him in might actually, because but at the very bottom.
I've heard rumors that he might get dealt.
As we get closer to deadline and guys start to go off the market, then maybe. Because, like one guy goes off the market and they go down the list, and the list, and maybe Hoffman's down the list a bit more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll go might trade it, actually. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Alexander Wenberg.
I don't think he'll be traded. I think Seattle stands pat.
Yeah. Tyson Barrie. There were some rumors earlier in the season that Barrie said that he would like to be on another team or is okay with being on another team.
We'll go might.
He's kind of similar to Carrier. I'm going to put him next to Carrier because he's kind of the same thing. Nashville's on a heater right now. It's a matter of Arthur Kaliev.
For the right offer, I think they would move Kaliev.
I think that if you're trying to buy in, you would move a guy like Kaliev. That's why I put him on this list. Jason Zucker.
I think Zucker will be traded. Zucker. I think he'll be traded.
I think that I realistically think that there are going to be teams that are looking for a decent top six option, and I think that Zucker is going to be one of the guys they try and go for. A good middle six forward is good secondary scoring.
With tons of playoff experience.
Yes, plenty of experience. Andrew Peak.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. We'll go maybe.
One thing I apologize for, I didn't put in a lot of Blue Jackets players. I didn't put in Provorov. I didn't put in Merzlikins. I didn't put in Severson. I do apologize for that. That is a fault on my part. I believe we are missing Markstrom, too, on this list. Those are guys that I forgot. I apologize. Anthony Duclair.
I think Duclair will be traded.
I agree. I think Duclair's another guy that I think will get moved. I think he's the best player. When you look at San Jose's fire sale, he is the best option for them.
Yeah. And
Jake Allen.
He'll be the first domino to fall in San
Yeah,
Jose.
agreed. Jake Allen.
Jake Allen should be traded, but I don't think he will be traded.
Yeah, I don't think he will be either. I think there's better goalie options out there on the market. He's not getting moved. Kaapo Kakkonen.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think so. A guy who's being offered a first-round pick, a.k.a. Matt Dumba.
No. I mean, I think no, but I think there'll be interest, but I don't think they'll move him.
If if the price is a first-round pick, then no. No chance. Scott Lawton, I don't think he'll be traded, personally.
I think he's still, if the offer is right, I think Philly will trade him.
Yeah, you might be right, but he's at the bottom. Jordan Eberle. They have said that they want to keep Eberle.
I don't think they trade Eberle.
Yeah.
I mean, if the offer's right.
I don't think.
No, okay.
And finally, we are going to move into some fun games that I'm going to give LeBlock. So LeBlock has no idea what these games are. There's a few that are fun. There's a few that LeBlock is going to struggle with. But regardless, we're going to get straight into it here. So we're going to start off with something that I thought would be very entertaining. LeBlock, can you please rank these teams based on the amount of playoff wins they have in their franchise's history?
Oh,
so I'm going to send you the teams right now. I'm not going to give you any help. There are 8 teams here that you are to rank. I sent you them on Snapchat.
Okay.
So please rank them from 1 to 8 in the most playoff wins.
What, most playoff wins?
Yes, all time. Not talking playoff series, playoff wins meaning games.
Just like game wins.
Yes.
I think Nashville is last.
Okay.
I'm going to... Do the Whalers count for Carolina?
Yes. Can you start at the top, so that way... Yeah.
Yeah. So you want me to go 1 to 8?
Yes, we'll go 1 to 8, please.
Okay, I think the Bruins are 1.
All right.
I'm going to say the Penguins are 2.
Okay.
Then I'm going to go with the Islanders, actually.
All right.
Dallas.
Okay. You were at 5.
And then I'm going to say... I'm going to say the Sens.
All right.
And then sorry, not the Sens, the Flames. Put the Flames above the Sens. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Okay.
And then Sens, then Preds.
You're missing Carolina.
Put Carolina below the Flames.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll do that.
All right. So your order is Bruins, Penguins, Islanders, Dallas, Flames, Carolina, Senators, Predators.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you got number 1 right, Boston Bruins with 338. That should be a very obvious one. I gave you an easy one for that pick because they were the only original 6 team. You got number 2 right, Pittsburgh Penguins are indeed at 212 playoff wins. And then you got it wrong. Islanders, you had at 3. The Stars were at 3 with 198.
Wow.
Probably forgot that the Minnesota North Stars were.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about the North Stars. Like, I thought the Islanders had 4 straight cups, but maybe that made up for it.
Yep. Well, they're off by like 20. The Islanders were 4th.
Okay.
With 174. So you weren't that far off. You had Dallas at 4. You were right with Calgary. They had 110. You were right with the Hurricanes. They had 91. You were right with the Senators. They had 72.
Okay.
And you were right with the Predators. They had 54. So you did pretty solid. 7 out of 8, not too bad. Or I guess 6 out of 8.
6 out of 8, yeah. I
Because
got
you
two
got
mixed
2 of
up.
them
But
wrong technically. But still, not that bad, comparatively speaking, to what other people get for those kind of things. So, for our next game, I'm going to ask you which teams in NHL history do not have a 1,000 point score in their
Oh.
franchise. Don't cheat and look at my Instagram. What are the 9? Hey, don't pull up your phone. What are the
I'm putting
9?
it down. It's down like this.
Okay. What are the 9 teams that don't have 1,000 point scores?
1,000 points. I'm gonna go obvious. It's the Kraken and Vegas.
Kraken and Vegas are 2 of them out of 9.
There's 9 teams.
Indeed, there is.
No, I know they have one. I know for sure Vancouver has one. Columbus.
Columbus is on that list. 3 out of 9. You're a third of the way there.
Ottawa has one. Definitely Montreal has one. Toronto definitely has one. No, again, Lebrock 1,000 points. Is it like for the franchise? Like the franchises like played with the franchise?
Yes.
Okay. Los Angeles.
Nope. Los Angeles does have 1,000. Los Angeles has plenty of 1,000 point scores.
Nice.
Marcel Dion, Robitaille, they got plenty.
Florida.
Florida is one of those. You got 4 out of 9.
Arizona.
Arizona is 5.
Because Doan got really close to 1,000. I know that.
Doan's like 970 something.
Yeah.
He's near.
4 more teams. I got
4 more.
Ooh, Minnesota.
Minnesota is one of them. You got 6. 3 more.
Nashville.
Nashville's one of them. That's 7.
There's 2 more. No, there's no way. This is a shot in the dark, and I think it's wrong. But the Rangers.
No, they have one. They have plenty.
They got some. The Hurricanes.
Nope, they have 1,000 points via probably Hartford too.
Probably. No, they have tons. St. Louis.
Nope, they have 1,000 point score.
Look at the jerseys on my wall real quick.
He's cheating. No, that's not cheating.
When the New Jets.
The New Jets is correct. Yes, that's 8 of the 9. You got one more.
Oof. No, they got some. No, they have some.
Should have gave you a time limit. I'm just realizing.
I'm drawing a blank now. No, it's definitely not them. No. I mean, I request a hint.
Yes, they are a Canadian team. That's
Really?
actually a really good hit. Indeed, they are. Yeah.
Is it Vancouver?
No, I said Vancouver does have one, I believe.
Yeah, no, that was my first, it's not. Calgary?
Nope. Calgary has one. Again, I believe, is the one that has 1,000.
Is it Ottawa?
It's not Ottawa.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I feel like you would know that. Alfredson's.
Yeah, I know. I figured that too. I thought maybe he got 1,000 with Detroit. It's definitely not Edmonton. Is it? It can't be Toronto, is it?
It is Toronto. That's 9.
Toronto?
Toronto does not have 1,000 point score in their franchise's history. I believe they have a few guys with 900, but they do not have 1,000 point score. Which, for a team that's been around for like 100 years, it's insane, but it's also embarrassing at the same time.
Yeah. I thought Toronto definitely had one.
Yeah, I'm not blaming you. So, all right, next game is wavelength. So I'm thinking of a number here, and you're going to have to guess that number on a scale of 1 to 10 based off of NHL-related questions. So, for example, you can ask me, what's like an NHL jersey? What's an NHL arena? What's an NHL player? Something like that. And I will say an arena that corresponds to that number. So I'm thinking of a number here, Leblock. You have 3 guesses, or 3 things you can ask me.
Okay.
So, begin.
Kind of a little confused, but...
Do you know what... So, Okay, all right, I'll give you a better example. So
All right.
let's say I'm thinking of the number 6.
Okay.
Or no, let's say I'm thinking of the number 10.
Okay.
And you say, can you give me an NHL player that is a 10? And I'd say, like, Nathan McKinnon. And then, like, if I'm thinking of the number 1 and you say, oh, can you give me like, an NHL arena that's based off of number 1? I would say, like, Mullet Arena.
Okay.
So, do you understand?
A little bit. Can you
You've
give
never
me?
seen Wavelength before?
I've never seen Wavelength. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Wow. That's kind of surprising. I guess you can give it a shot. So just ask me some questions. I'm thinking of a number.
6. um, um, give me an NHL player with the number 10.
What?
I don't know. Like
No, I am okay. So I am thinking of it. All right, we're gonna re-explain it because
Alright.
LeBlanc doesn't understand. I am thinking of a number from 1 to 10,
Okay.
and you have to ask. You have to think. You have to guess that number based off of 3 things that you can ask me. Those are things like NHL arena, NHL jersey, NHL player, and I will say a player that on a scale of 1 to 10 would be like a 10 or a 9.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got you now.
Right.
I got you.
Now he gets it. All right, so begin. I'm thinking of a number.
NHL player.
I would say Tyler Myers.
Okay, not a great start. What about an NHL equipment brand, like an equipment brand of hockey?
Oh, hang on a second. I don't really know any like bad or any like. I don't know. Hang on. I would say Mod Squad Hockey.
NHL City.
NHL City. Okay. I would go with. It's a good one. Columbus. All right. So that's it. What is the number that I'm thinking of?
2.
You're 1 off. I was guessing 3.
Ah,
You're close. All right. So now that you understand the
between
game.
3, I'm like,
Yeah. All right. Well, that's unfortunate, but now that you understand the game, at least you'll know that for next time.
yes.
And then finally, my final game that I have for you is guess a player. So I'm thinking of a player, and you have 5 questions. I don't know why I put up 10. You have 5 questions to ask me. You can ask, like, oh, does this player play on, like, the Metropolitan Division, or does this player play in the Eastern Conference? Like, questions like that. And then, you'll narrow down the team, I guess. Or you can just say, is this player a forward? Is this player Canadian? You get it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I do it with my Nordcast, but I thought it'd be a cool idea to do it with you. So I am thinking of a player. You try and guess that guy.
Do they play in the Eastern Conference?
He does.
Do they play in the Metro Division?
He does not.
Are they a forward?
They are a forward.
Are they Canadian?
They are not Canadian.
Do they play on a Canadian team?
He does not play on a Canadian team.
I already asked about forward, right? And you said no, right?
You already, yeah. You know what? I'll give you 10 questions.
Okay.
Because you're already up to your 5, but I'll give you 10.
Is he a defenseman?
He is not a defenseman. He is a forward. I said he's a forward.
Okay, so my bad.
Wasted one of your questions. Way to
go. Have they been in the league for more than 10 years?
I think so.
Okay. Are they a winger?
No.
No. Okay. More than 10 years. A center. Is he American?
Hang on.
Oops.
I don't know guys by
nationality.
No, he's not American.
Okay, he's not American. Is he European?
Yes.
Okay. Do they play for the Boston Bruins?
No.
Okay.
Now you got to guess your player. Final guess.
More than 10 years. Not American. European. European center. Not on a Canadian team in the Atlantic.
He's not on a Canadian team. I said he's not on a Canadian team.
I know. So that's the thing. He's not on a Canadian team in the Atlantic, though. So my options are Buffalo, Detroit, Florida. Is it Barkov?
It is Barkov. There you go. Attaboy. It took him only 10 questions, guys. All right, congratulations, James. You did very well in the games today.
Yes.
But that is all I got for Northern Block episode 7. I hope you guys enjoyed. LeBlock will be giving me games next episode, hopefully. Please give me games. I want entertainment. But yeah, next episode will be after the trade deadline, I believe. So stay tuned for a lot of deadline review type stuff in that episode. But regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on this video if you enjoyed it. But anyways, thank you all for watching or listening. If you did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe down below if you're following the YouTube channel. If you're on a podcast, give us a good review, tell your friends, all that good stuff. And if you're looking for more content, follow the Nord Block Pod Instagram, which we post other content on as well, along with clips and other highlights from our daily shenanigans on this podcast. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching or listening, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
Ciao.
Adios.